Welcome to Hand Forged, the podcast where real tradespeople share their real stories. Here at Hand Forged, we're dedicated to bringing attention to the trades, fostering a community of blue-collar professionals, and offering support through shared experiences and insights. Each episode will dive deep into journeys, challenges, and successes of our guests. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the trades, you'll find valuable tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to help you navigate and thrive in your career. So grab your tools and get ready to be inspired. This is Hand Forged. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hand Forge Podcast. This is episode number 3. We're moving. Finally getting this thing going here. We got Chris Blauvelt.
There we go.
Of William Raveis.
Got it.
Man, we've been working on this name for like 2 days. I keep wanting to say Blauvelt, but it's Blauvelt. So Chris is with William Raveis Realty. We thought it'd be a good idea to bring Chris in and kind of talk a little bit about the market. Obviously, as a real estate agent, it's not blue collar, but what they're doing and kind of what they're seeing out there is really important to all of us in the trades. So I kind of want to just pick his brain a little bit and, talk a little bit about the market, talk a little bit about, kind of where he sees the market going, both in real estate and with the trades and renovations and stuff. Chris also comes from a background of blue collar family. So we'll get into that a little bit. We had a cool little meeting yesterday. We're trying to set up some pre-podcast meetings now to kind of talk about what we're going to talk about on the podcast. And it was pretty fun. We got some good food and, just hung out for a little bit. Tyler was with us. But yeah, we'll just get right into this. So why don't you just kind of fill in the listeners on kind of who you are, what you do, where you're working now, kind of, and what you're seeing.
Yeah, so name is Chris. Grew up in Middlesex County in Wakefield, Massachusetts. The way kind of I started my journey was, so my dad owned a plastering business for about 40 years.
God bless him. I hate plastering.
I know, yeah. Trust me, I did it for a while too. I'll never forget the first job I was on. He's like, "You gotta bring those 500 bags up 3 flights of stairs." I'm like, "Really?"
Oh, there's a ladder at the top.
This is my first day. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I did that when I was younger. Worked for him. Kind of learned a lot from him. Pretty much everything from. He was a contractor too. Like he did a lot of that stuff. Pretty much everything when it comes to plumbing, electrical. He flipped properties. He had rental properties. We'll maybe get into that. But yeah, I worked for him for a good amount of time when I was younger. Realized that it just wasn't for me. Didn't want to do this for the rest of my life. Didn't want to take over the business. And jumped in college. Went to Franklin Pierce University for 4 years. Got my degree in mass communications. Worked as a graphic designer in corporate for 10 years.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's funny, I hated it. Like, I absolutely hated it. I just hated sitting at a desk and just wasn't for me. Even like the first day I started there too, I'm like, this is not for me. So I got to do something else.
Took you 10 years to figure it out?
Took me 10 years, yeah. And I hired a career coach, a life coach, and we kind of went through a process to find like what my next thing was, and he kind of opened my eyes. We went through a process, and I found out real estate was what I wanted to do. So cool. The first step was, my first idea was jumping into real estate investing. Wanted to flip properties, own some investment properties. But I'm like, I'm just going to go all out and I'm going to get my real estate license, see if I like the sales side, and then get into the investment side. So I got my real estate license. I've been doing that for, I've been a full-time real estate agent for 3 years now. Was with Realty and jumped over to William Raveis. Been with Raveis for 2 years now, and it's been awesome.
Why the jump?
It's just resources. Yeah, resources and market share. So Raveis, they've been number 1 in Andover, and that's a market I really want to get into. They've been number 1 for 25 plus years in Andover, North Andover.
No way. Yeah, it's a tough market too.
Yeah, and just you got good agents, to learn from, good mentors. I got a couple great mentors within the company.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a really good decision for me, and I'm glad I made that decision to jump over to Raveis.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We'll be right back to this episode of Hand Forged after a word from our sponsor. At Seacoast Cabinet, Raleigh, Mass., we offer a full range of services, from design to installation, tailored to residential and commercial applications. We carry 3 lines of American-made cabinetry to fit any budget, ensuring that you get the best quality and value. For more information or a free quote and design, head to seacoastcabinetne.com.
Market looking now. I mean, I know we talked a little bit yesterday, and you kind of Essex County. You're talking North Andover. I guess what are you seeing? Obviously, everybody knows inventory is low. Where are you guys at? Like, how's business with you guys in that company?
Yeah. So as everyone knows, rates are high. They're at 7%. They're going back and forth from, high 6s to they hit, mid 8s at some point. Like, I think that was like a year ago, 6 months ago. So they're like the stock market right now. They're just going up and down.
So what drives that? Like, why?
Inflation has a big impact on it.
Gotcha.
So once we bring inflation down, the rates are going to come down. So, but in terms of what's going on in Essex County, and I'll kind of touch on what's happening across the country as well. Essex County right now, like I said, like you said, inventory is really low. So we have no inventory. To give you some perspective, right now we have about 8,000 active homes on the market. A normal market, like just a normal balanced market, we have between 10 and 12,000. So we're creeping up, but we're not there yet. I want to say the winter time's always a little bit quieter, but I think we had like 5,000 or 6,000 active homes, which is like unheard of. It's just super low. So we want that to be, 10,000 and above. In Essex County, we have about 2 months supply of inventory, which is really low. Like a normal balanced market, we should have about 6 months, 5 to 6 months supply of inventory. 2 months right now, we're up about, I think last month we were at like a month and a half supply of inventory.
Wow.
So
how low did it actually get as far as inventory?
It got like below a month, I think.
Damn, that
yeah.
is crazy.
And once again, it's like seasonality. So, springtime is when inventory spikes. It tends to go down a little bit mid-summer time because a lot of people are away. Fall, it spikes. And then around the winter and the holidays, it goes way down. So, yeah. So, we're low. Like, the inventory's low. There's a huge supply and demand issue here in Boston, here in Essex County, here in New England. What's going on across the country is we're seeing that inventory is actually spiking in some areas. So California, Colorado, Florida, Texas, inventory is increasing. The market's starting
I can see it in California because nobody wants to live there, but
yeah, there you go.
It's good to see it in Florida and Texas for sure.
Yeah. So it's leveling out in those markets, and usually trickles down to us, to Boston. We're usually the last ones to change. So I think depending on rates and depending on what happens, like we can't predict, what's going to happen. We never know, but
Yeah.
I do think that it's going to probably level out a little bit within maybe a year or two here in Boston.
Makes sense. It's funny that you said that about like the Northeast, because like in the cabinet business, there's design trends, right? And
Yep.
we see a lot of the, greens are trending, natural wood tones are starting to kind of come back.
Yep.
But those are things that we're starting to see now as far as trends, but have been popular all over everywhere else
Yeah.
for years, you
Yeah.
know? And it's funny how the Northeast is always just like this, like slow transition. Like
We are,
it's crazy.
It's just the way it is. Yeah, and it's good just to see what's going on across the country.
For sure.
You want to be educated on that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like paying attention to that stuff, especially in design stuff. Obviously that's what I do. So
Yeah.
it's good to know kind of what's trending and kind of what's going on out there in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And trying to be like a person that's going to bring some of those trends from down there up this way.
Totally.
Which I'm sure is probably relatable for you guys. Like you want to do the same thing. If you see spikes in Florida, like you want to start pushing for those same kind of spikes up in the Northeast.
yeah,
I
we
would
want to
assume.
prepare for that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just let sellers and buyers know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just educate them, not just what's going on in our market, our local market, but what's going on, across the country.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Cool. So a little bit more, I want to talk about your past a little bit. You said your great-grandfather was into the trades too,
He was. Yeah, so
built a bunch of houses and stuff.
Yeah, my great grandfather, he was a big builder down in the Wakefield area. So I grew up in a 2-family home that he built in Wakefield. So almost like, I want to say like probably 70-80% of brick homes that you see in and around the Wakefield, Winchester area, he built. So, and it's funny, he had all the same floor plans. So, you see the outside of the house, you go in it, it's his built, just by the floor plans. And
That's cool.
which is pretty cool. So unfortunately, I never got to meet him. I met my great grandmother. She lived down, so the structure, the way the house was is 2-family house. We lived above on the second floor, and my grandmother lived on the first floor. So my grandmother and great grandmother. My great grandmother, she lived, I think, till 95.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, but like I said, I never got to meet my great grandfather.
Yeah.
But got to meet her, and spent my childhood with her, and it was cool just growing up in a family household. So
what do you think, like the years that he was building that stuff? And I'm just a curious person by nature. Like I love history,
Yeah.
especially like in the trades and like building and stuff.
Yep.
So what years like was he building houses?
I want to say it was probably early to mid 1900s.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like you walk into this house and it's such a well-built house. It's a
Yeah.
fieldstone foundation, no settling. It was just like so well built,
Isn't it crazy that like back then they had so many less everything,
Yeah.
right? Less tools, less
Resources,
technology, less everything.
Yeah.
And they were able to build these things, and everything took 10 times longer.
Yeah.
But they were able to build these incredible structures with a ton of detail that just lasted forever.
Yeah.
And then, nowadays we have all this technology, all these resources, all these tools to like make these things great, but you have houses settling within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Like I remember we went out and did a job, and it was like a multi-unit that we did all the kitchens on, and it was 32 units, I think it was. And it was, your U-shaped kitchen with a peninsula.
Yep.
And the peninsula was 6 feet. We were shimming, brand new construction. We were shimming the end of that peninsula run in some spots by an inch.
Jesus.
And
wow.
it was like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Like this is a new house. I could see, if it settles a little bit, like
But that
20
much?
years,
Yeah.
but like within 3 months, like, it's
3
just
months.
crazy, man.
Yeah. It's just because they're throwing them up so quickly.
Right.
It's
The
insane.
The money takes priority over like the
right.
integrity,
Yeah,
And
you're right.
and the thing that's tough is like there are builders out there that do want to produce a quality product that's going to last forever, but you can't make as much money in it, and so it's like hard to do it.
They're
for these
losing money
guys.
at that
They're-
point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I know it's sad, man. I'm an old school guy, but I just
I am too, yeah.
I just bothers me sometimes.
But it's a game of time. They're fighting time.
Yeah.
So even like not even new builds. You should see like some of the houses I go in that are flips,
yeah.
and people, first time home buyers are buying these houses. It's just like, it's crazy. The quality of work is just so low, and and people just don't know. So that's what I try to do, especially when I'm working with buyers, is just educate them, let them know, So when we walk into a house and, I see just bad flip, just cheap quality of work, it's like, get out of here. Let's get out of here. Either let's try to get you a really good deal, on it,
Right.
which doesn't happen in this market. Well, let's find something else.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than this. You don't want to be spending X amount of money for a house that's going to be falling apart in a year.
Right,
It's
right.
just not worth it.
Yeah. So, since you brought up flips, and we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday, obviously for the blue collar family, like, the flips, we like those jobs.
Yep.
We like to get involved with those jobs, and the typical people that are doing those jobs are investors. Are going in and buying these houses that are dilapidated and run down, and then
Yep.
they're bringing in crews to kind of renovate them so that they can make some money on flipping the properties.
Yep.
For the blue collar people that are just starting off and trying to kind of build that network and trying to get in with these investors and trying to get in with real estate agents like you, what do you think is like a good avenue for those people to take in order to kind of get work from those types of jobs?
Yeah, I think you just need to meet people. You just got to network, And I think a lot of the things I do to meet other people, and we were talking about this yesterday when we met, is just like networking events. So we're both in BNI. Yep. I think that's just a great resource to meet people. And not even from the business side of like getting business and closing deals. It's like the amount of people that I've met, the amount of businesses that I now rely on. That I have a vendor list that I send to clients, that I send to all my sellers and buyers. And pretty much half of those people on that list I met through that networking group, BNI.
Right.
So I think that's a really good one. I think going to masterminds, we also talked about this too the other day. Mastermind events, you meet a ton of people that way. And it's good to meet people outside of, the state, so you just never know who those people know or who's moving up or
What they're doing.
what they're doing. I went to a mastermind event down in Florida, met a great real estate agent that's licensed in Maine. And now, we talk like once a month. We send each other business, so I think that's a good source. Like I said, mastermind groups, events, attend. I try to attend like anywhere from 3 to 5 events a year. And I like to travel too. That's always fun. But I think events, you meet a lot of people. And then I think, just another piece of advice too is kind of find what you like to do in terms of hobbies and go do that and meet people that way. So I like to golf. I'm not in a golf league yet, but I want to join a league. I try to play like once a week. And sometimes I play by myself and I network and meet people that way.
Yeah.
So it's great. So find out what you like and go do that, whether you like hunting, golfing, whatever it is,
Meeting people.
That's just
That's
just an organic, natural way to meet people, know?
Sure. Yeah, you're talking golf. You're talking Tyler's language over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The boys got me into golf. What's it been like?
I was gonna
a
say, do you
year,
play?
2 years? Yeah. I just started.
We gotta play.
We've been playing. I'm down, man. That'd be fun as
Let's
hell.
do it. Yeah.
We'll plan that for sure.
Absolutely.
I'll kick your ass, but
I don't know about that.
I talk a lot of shit, man. I just suck at golf. I'm all right.
Golf's hard.
I have my good
It's a
days.
mind game.
Yeah, for sure. I never thought I'd like golf, but I actually enjoy it thoroughly, especially going out with these guys.
Yeah.
My youngest son, Tyler's brother, Devin, is good. Like the kid's just naturally good at fucking anything.
Just an athlete. Yeah.
It's just the way the kid is. Like he smoked me and Tyler with a cast on.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Like,
Jesus. One-handed.
Yeah, dude, it was bad.
Whooped your ass.
Yeah, I can't believe I just told everybody that, but
That's great.
but yeah, so going back to like the networking piece, right? So
Yeah.
we're both in BNI, and for people that don't know, it's a business networking group it's a global organization. And we're both in BNI groups. So like you find different chapters. Mine's in Newburyport downtown, and Chris's is in Amesbury, and that's actually how I met you.
That's how we met.
Is through BNI.
Yeah. Yep.
So I go. It's once a week. We meet from 7 to 8:30, and there's, in my group, there's 40 different industry professionals in different industries. There's lawyers, there's accountants, there's bookkeepers, there's foot spas. I mean, anything that you can think of. And then I had one of my employees in the Amesbury group as well. So we had 2 people from the company in in BNI, and we've done really well through the group. I think we've grossed, I think like 250,000 through BNI.
That's awesome.
In revenue, and that's just
Nice.
business that we've gotten from members or referrals from members, and it's just an awesome thing to do. Like the networking that you get, even the people that are out of industry. Because for me, like I had my woodworking business was in Derry, New Hampshire. And then when I moved down, when I opened the showroom in Rowley, like I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anybody in the North Shore. Like I didn't have any contacts or connections down here. So I had to kind of start from scratch. And I needed resources out of my industry, right? Like I didn't get or join BNI really to like get business. Like, obviously, we all want to make money from BNI, but like that wasn't my main objective. Like I need someone for payroll. I needed an attorney.
Exactly.
I needed somebody to do my t-shirts and my hats. Like, I needed like all these different things in order to grow the business. And I got all that through my group and like meeting all these people through the group. And on the other side is like, you have all these business professionals who have built big, successful companies that you have for resources.
Yeah,
They're like an
learn
outside
from them.
sales team.
Absolutely.
And like you learn from them. They help you with sales. They help you with, everything. And I use just about everybody in that group for something or another. And, the foot spa thing is legit. Like I go to Soul Foot Spa in Newburyport. I like that shit was life-changing for me.
There you
it's
go.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But like, the networking events, like I couldn't agree more. I always knew that like networking was a very important part of business. But up until, 2 years ago, I didn't put enough value in that. I just think it's so important. And like you said, the mastermind events, like I went down to one in Boston actually with Tyler, that my buddy Eric Spofford put on. And you know, the education that we got from that was well worth the price of admission, but I also made a bunch of contacts out of that. And same thing, like you said, like I met somebody who has a cabinet shop down in the South Shore. I'll travel down there to do a kitchen, but like, you know, some of the smaller stuff, sometimes just not, it doesn't make sense for us. So like I've referred a bunch of business down to him that, you know, his company goes out and takes care of. He also put me on to like a book, which was like, and that book had changed my business. You know, like we started doing things.
Nice.
You know, it was Buying Back Your Time from Dan Martell. Awesome book. And like we changed a bunch of things in our company from that book, you know?
Nice.
So it's like these things like trickle out, you know what I mean? And they like this networking and meeting people and like these resources just trickle out to different things. And it might not be something that's bringing in revenue, but there's so much more value in, you know, those connections and those resources and the education that you can get from people and things you can learn.
And it just compounds.
Compounds,
you know?
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to, you know, always know when to be the student and when to be the teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you kind of go in with that mindset that you want to learn and you want to know stuff and learn stuff and understand stuff from other people, like that's resources just completely invaluable.
It is.
I think
It is.
You know?
Yeah. That's good. You're a pedicure guy. I didn't know that, you know?
Bro.
Would never know it just looking at you.
So we talked about golf, but I've also had business meetings there.
Yeah.
Because you can do couples.
Yep.
And like I've brought business partners there and like talked
Bad
business
idea.
while we do it. People do it in like China all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's a regular thing. So
Not a bad idea.
it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like so we'll go play some golf and we'll get our feet rubbed.
Get a pedicure.
So it's not pedicures though. So soul to soul, and I'm giving Sue a plug right now, is it's foot steeping. So like,
Okay,
you have this
what is that?
copper bowl that's like hand knock copper, right?
Yeah.
And it has river rocks in the bottom.
Okay.
She fills it with hot water, and then you can like pick these oils and stuff that you put in it.
Yeah.
You soak your feet for a little bit, and she has like this like meditation music playing. You get this warm thing around your shoulders.
Wow.
You get like a cup of tea and like all this stuff. And then you know, you soak for a little bit, and then you take your feet out, and she like gives you a foot massage, a massage on your calves, like does all. Dude, it's.
Nice.
I'm telling you, life changing.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
Yeah.
I was actually on like a repeat calendar. I was going there like once every 2 weeks, like
Yep.
repetitively for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Are you a runner?
Recently, yeah, for
Yeah.
the past couple of years. So I travel a lot with my kids for lacrosse. Both my boys have, you know, competitively play lacrosse. So we travel all up and down the East Coast
Yep.
and further sometimes. So like I'm always in these Airbnbs like for 3 to 4 days at a time.
Yep.
Like next Thursday, we leave for Long Island for a week for a couple of showcases for college. And, you know, I work out every day. So like, I didn't know what to do as far as workouts go. So I was like, I'll start running. So like I started tracking my runs and stuff. And I use this app called Strava. Where
Yeah,
I
I
can,
use
track.
Strava. Love Strava.
And, dude, I love it. So like I love running. So I started running about 2 years ago. I'm not great at it, like probably like 10-minute miles, but like I get out there and I'll do like 6-7 miles and just kind of, you know, hammer it out. But it's a good workout, man. It's fun. I like doing that stuff.
Yeah, nice.
You run too?
A little bit. A little bit. I do more of mountain biking and all that stuff.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So golf, foot steeping, and then we'll go for a run.
There we go. We got it down.
Networking.
Let's do it. Right after this.
All right. So I guess as far as things go, and let me look at my notes here. We talked a little bit yesterday about, you know, I guess how you see the market going for like the next 3 to 5 years, both for you in real estate and buying and selling. And then, you know, what do you think as far as the trades go? Like how you have a good handle and grasp on the pulse of the market for housing. Like, do you see a lot of new construction going up? Do you see a lot more of these like big renovations, people buying smaller houses and kind of building them bigger? Or, you know, where do you kind of see those two things going? With real estate?
I don't think a lot is going to change for in the trades. And I want to get your opinion and perspective on that too. But new construction, we don't have much here in Massachusetts. They're doing a lot more new construction in New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire.
Yeah, because all the border jumpers like you.
Exactly. Yeah, jumping over. I know. But for example, like Pelham, New Hampshire, they're putting in a ton of developments over there. So we want to see more of that, you know, especially with the housing shortage. the high demand, here in New England. But I don't think much is going to change for, people in the trades. I think it's going to be pretty lucrative for a while.
Yeah.
And like I said, I want to get your perspective. But in terms of the real estate market, next 2 to 5 years, I think it's going to shift a little bit. It's going to have to. I don't think rates can stay this high for this long. And I don't think inventory can stay this low for this long either. So I think, and like I said, we're seeing it across the country, in other markets. I think it's going to trickle up to us at some point. I don't know when. It might be 6 months to a year. I think a lot's going to change, especially with the election. If we have a new president or not, there's going to be a lot of change there.
We won't get into that.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But I think that will change, quite a bit too, in terms of what happens with real estate. But and we need to get inflation in check. So, the Fed said their start of year, they said they're going to make 4 rate cuts. That means, that doesn't mean that interest rates are going to get affected. That's just the, federal rate cut. Now they're saying they're only going to do 1. So things are just constantly changing right now. We're in a pretty weird time, that people haven't seen before, you know. I think, I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but US Bank just announced that they're in billions of dollars of debt, more than what the banks were in 2008, which is interesting.
Wow.
So there's just a lot of weird things happening. We just don't know what's going to happen. But in terms of going back to real estate, within 2 to 5 years, I think it's going to shift a little bit. I think the market's going to level out, and I think that'll be a good thing for the real estate market.
Yeah, I think that, as far as the trades and kind of my insight and what we've been seeing is that, obviously for the past couple of years, nobody wants to sell. Like, obviously you can sell the house and you can make a bunch of money on it, and
because they don't want to jump in from 2.5%, 3% now to 7%.
Right. It's that.
I get
and
it.
then trying to find a piece of property, like trying to find a house to buy.
You're
so
right.
it's like, yeah, you make a bunch of money on your sale, but then you go to buy and you get in a bidding war, and you're spending all the money that you just made on selling the house. You know, so it's like, so we saw a lot of big renovations. So huge additions being put on, doubling the square footage of the house, doing that type of stuff. People were just, home after COVID and, wanted more space or wanted to upgrade into a bigger house, but obviously couldn't find the property. So they were just kind of adding on. I feel like we've seen a lot of that, but on the flip side of that, the big investors and the people that were buying these big pieces of property and, doing big developments and that type of stuff, like a lot of those people have kind of pulled out or, limited their action in the market because
the numbers are just so tight.
Numbers are so
Can't
tight.
make money.
You can't make money doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part because trades rates have gone up. Materials went through the roof, especially through COVID. And then you get the higher interest rates and, everything has gone up and, they're just having a hard time, like you said, making money. The numbers are just so tight that it's hard for them to do it. So,
I remember that spike around COVID, like lumber shot up. How is it now? I know I've heard concrete is really expensive right now. Is really high.
Well, it's weird because it's like you said with the rates and all these things changing and they're saying one thing and then this thing happens and then something different. It's kind of how it is with materials. It's every now and then you just all of a sudden something shoots up like a concrete or 2x4s or plywood or whatever it is for a little bit and then it kind of comes back down, know? So it's I don't understand why or how it happens. But yeah, it's still definitely happening. There's still a ripple effect from COVID and all of those issues.
And I think for those type of people too, if they are looking for flips, you gotta find properties off market right now. There's not, if you're out there looking, there may be, a diamond in the rough on MLS, that's sitting and you might be able to work the numbers and get a good deal out of it. But mainly it's really trying to find something off market.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. If somebody was interested in that, what do you think is the best approach to find those properties that haven't been listed?
Yeah, so the term drive for dollars, I
learned that yesterday.
Yeah, you want to do that. You want to just drive around, find houses that are, need some work, falling apart, either write them a letter, reach out, try to find that owner's contact information and just have a conversation with them. like I was telling you yesterday, believe it or not, like there's people that don't want to go to market, that don't want to list their home on the market. They don't want to get it ready. They don't want to, have people coming in and out, throughout the weeks.
Yeah.
So just finding, for investors, finding deals off market. And I help, I work with a number of investors right now, and we help investors find deals off market, and we'll try to put a deal together off market, which helps. So
yeah, you were saying like sending like mailers out to
or
entire
mailers.
neighborhoods.
Yeah, find a neighborhood and location that you like, whether it's your neighborhood or some other location, and just send out like 5,000 letters.
Yeah.
So you got to do something that just grabs their attention.
Right.
So maybe it's like a big envelope with something in it, a pen or some type of swag, to kind of catch their attention, instead of just something that they're just a letter that they're just gonna throw away.
Yeah, if I got a free pen, bro, I'm selling.
There you go, free pen.
I love free pens.
Yeah, free keychain.
We have this company that somebody had signed up for it like years ago, for like these pens with like our logo on it, and like they still send us a pen like every other month.
Yeah.
And like with our logo, like trying to sell us, right? They want us to buy a bunch of pens, but like I just keep taking the freebies, and like I have a whole pen cup full of like
I got a collection too. Yeah.
It's funny. I like free pens. Some of them are wicked nice, and I'm always like, I'm gonna buy some of these, but I never actually do.
Yeah. But you just got to do stuff that's different to grab people's attention.
Yeah.
Send them brownies, send them something,
I like the cutting boards, dude. Like
cutting boards. Yeah.
I have a company. Oh, they're actually in this building, G Jewels.
Okay.
And they were in our BNI group, last year. I think they dropped out, but yeah, they make like personalized gifts.
Nice.
So like they do cutting boards, glasses, wine glasses, whiskey glasses.
I gotta check them out.
A bunch of cool little things, and you can put your logo on them.
Nice.
So what we were doing is we were doing cutting boards with the longitude and latitude of the house address as like thank you gifts to some of our customers.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was cool. And
That's
then
cool.
you can get like the wine glass, and our logo is round, so we could put the our logo on the bottom of the wine glass. So we sent a couple wine glasses and a cutting board.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool. People love that stuff, man.
Yeah, you got to, like I said, you got to do stuff that's different. People love that stuff.
For sure.
Grabs their attention too.
Yeah.
So
cool, man. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess your goals, man, your personal goals. We've talked about the market. We've talked about real estate. We've kind of talked about some of this stuff. I mean, you're doing your thing now. Obviously, the market's much different than anybody's ever seen it. I assume you're sticking with it, and you're going to kind of stay in this and kind of see what floats to the top. I mean, where do you see yourself in the next like 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been good. Past 3 years has been really good. Did 10 million, in terms of sales volume last year.
That's awesome.
My goal is 15 to 20 this year. We'll see. We're on track, So I'm on a team right now. I'm on the Matt Woody team with William Raveis. Mm-hmm. He's been a great mentor for me. I got other mentors as well, but my long-term goal is to start my own team. So
how does that work within real estate? Because it's like that with solar too, where like you have a company, and then within the company you have a bunch of separate teams. Is that how it works?
You have separate teams, within the company.
And like the leader of the team is like obviously somebody who has been doing it for a while, is experienced.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, you work for your brokerage. You can get your brokerage license and start your own. That's probably a 10-year goal for me. But we work under a brokerage, William Raveis, and then I work, under a team. So I want to stay with Raveis for a while. They're a great company, and I want to start my own team. So that's my long-term goal. That's cool. Yeah, and the first step is hiring an admin for that type of help. As
best decision ever made.
Yeah.
And actually going back to that book, that's where I got the idea, the buying back your time.
Yep.
That was one thing that he said, like everybody should
time is
have
money.
an administrative assistant.
Yeah.
For all the small tasks and stuff.
Yeah.
Mine tends to wear more hats than just an administrative assistant right now.
Yeah. But you got to know, like you really got to kind of just see what your hourly wage is, and like we were talking yesterday, it's like, it might not make sense for me to mow my lawn. I enjoy doing it, but it's like I'm losing money when I can pay someone X amount, and focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah,
so
I think you talked me into it yesterday to hire somebody to mow my lawn.
There we go. Yeah. He's looking at landscapers.
What's tough, man, is like I love mowing the lawn. Like
I do too.
I got a nice tractor thing, and like I go out there and like cruise around.
Oh,
it's
I
like
love it
nice.
too.
I love being out in the sun.
Yeah.
And I have this like glorious picture of me mowing the lawn and having this good time, but then I just never have the time.
That's the problem.
You know,
and that's
like
what I'm
the
running
tough
into
part.
now. I never have the time. Got 2 kids now,
Yeah.
you know, got a big family. So it's just don't have time for that now. So
Yeah, and
and
it's like one of those things. Like there's so many other things that I could be doing. You know, like you said, like I have an hourly rate, like what my
Yeah.
time is worth, and it's definitely not worth mowing a lawn.
yeah.
It's probably not worth working on my motorcycle either, but I like working on my motorcycle.
Yeah.
So like I skipped the lawn last weekend so that I can work on my bike.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's like, damn, I got to get the lawn mowed. And like, I swore I was going to keep on top of it this year, man. And I just, you know, now I'm leaving for Long Island on Thursday. I'm going to
Yeah.
be gone for a week. I'm going to come back. It's going to be fucking a foot tall.
Yep.
And I'm like, God damn it, I did it again.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, life gets busy, especially when you have a family and kids and you're running a business. It's like you don't have time to do those things. So it's just makes more sense to outsource it to someone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of got off topic, but you're talking about the administrative assistant. Like,
Yeah, and then
same idea.
Yeah, and then the next step is, you know, you hire an admin and then you hire real estate agents that work under you. So
How long do you think you have to be doing it before, you know, people actually want to work for you? Like, you know, obviously it's like any other business, right? Like you can be inexperienced, but have something to offer, or you can have a ton of experience with that to offer pretty much.
It all depends on like what you're comfortable with. So I mean, like really when you want to kind of go off, like I guess how you want to measure it is if you're doing like 10 plus million in sales volume, you're kind of ready to start a team at that point. You're ready to go off on your own and do your own thing.
So that's like the line.
Kind of
That's
the
your kind of
threshold.
threshold.
Yeah. So, but you know, like I love being on a team now. Like I said, I've been doing this for 3 years. You know, I still talk to him every single day. I'm always calling him and asking him for advice and just getting feedback from him. So he's a really good resource for me.
Do you
And
still have that resource if you start your own team?
I probably not. I mean, we'll probably still stay connected.
Yeah.
But no, I'm probably going to lose that. So, so yeah, it's good. It's good for now. The resources are good, but you know, I'll eventually be ready to go off and do my own thing at some point. So that's the long-term goal.
That's cool, man. So I guess with talking about that, like we did, you know, we talked about those challenges, right? Like kind of what that threshold is and kind of what that means for you. You're going to lose the experience and kind of that person that you can call every day. So that's a barrier for you as far as that goes. So what else? What else is like, what else would kind of hold you back from starting your own team?
Yeah, it's just it's time. So like we have a lot of resources on our team now. Like we have an admin and we have a lot of support. So now I have to go off and find that support, you know, that I have now. So it's building that team and finding those resources. Probably when I first start, it's going to be me doing a lot of stuff while trying to find those resources. So, and just for me, like just even being on a team right now, one of the biggest challenges is time. Like it's like I said, I have 2 kids, I got a family. And it's just, you know, like I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I still don't have enough time to do shit, you know? So, you know, my purpose of my job is to serve people. So I want to just, you know, I want to provide the best level of services for people. So that's, you know, my number one priority with my family too. My family and my business are my 2 top priorities, you know, and yeah, that's kind of the struggle for me right now is just trying to find time to do everything else, you know? So,
and I think that, you know, I think that starts with that first hire and getting that administrative assistant.
It's the hardest part, you know, that's
for sure,
making that jump, you know, it's scary.
Yeah. It's funny because like hiring the first employee is scary as shit. And like you talk yourself out of doing it as much as you can. Yeah. And then hiring multiple employees after that, it's like easy. Yeah. It's like cakewalk. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, why the hell did I take so long to do this the first time?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's kind of, so to that point, me and a business partner, we started a real estate investing business. We bought our first rental property. It's been a long-term goal for me for a long time, but it's always been really scary to buy that first property, you know? And we said, fuck it. And we bought our first property in January of this year and it's been great. Yeah. You know, there's been challenges, but it's been really good. So now we're looking to find another one, you know? But it's just with anything, it's just taking that first step. You know, it's
saying fuck it.
saying fuck it.
I feel
just
like
going
that's
going
one
all
of those
in.
things.
Yeah.
I said it before the podcast. I say it before the podcast every time. Fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, fuck it. Exactly.
And that's like,
yeah.
you get that inner dialogue that's telling you like, you're not good enough. You're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
You're going to fuck up and talk about something stupid. You're going to let too much time lapse. And then it's just like, fuck it, let's go.
Exactly.
That's
what
like,
I did
it's like
jumping
my
into real
favorite
estate.
point.
Yeah. I was in corporate for, like I said, for 10 years and I made the jump. I just said, screw it. Like, I'm going to go all in, you know, and see if I like this. I'm not going to, go halfway in and work part-time doing real estate and then part-time design. I quit my job and just jumped in full time.
Yeah.
So you got to take those risks, you really
sure.
do to see that high reward.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it's, sometimes it's not reward. Sometimes you do fail.
exactly.
But there's something to learn from that.
Yeah,
there
there
it's
is.
like, and those are the best lessons, I think. When I jumped out on my own, it was 2012. I had 2 young kids at home. I gave up the full-time punching the clock every day.
Yep.
My guaranteed 40 to 50 hours. I gave up the insurances. I gave up the retirement. I gave up everything to jump on my own and just kind of chase this dream that I had, you know?
Yeah.
And, the woodworking business was good, but it was, I wouldn't call it a success.
Yeah.
Like, we did well and there was money coming in and, we were able to feed our families and stuff, but it's a tough business to scale, and that was the big thing, like hiring in that industry is difficult. You're competing against overseas stuff, which just, crushes any pricing that you can even dream of trying to do, and I know plenty of people that have built very big businesses in that trade and building furniture, building custom cabinets that just weren't able to make it because it's just every time you touch a cabinet, every time you touch a piece of wood, every time you move something, every time you grab a screw, it costs you money, but you also have to keep your price competitive with what people could go and buy at fucking anywhere, so it's like, I think that's a very difficult part, so I wouldn't say the woodworking business was a failure, but I wouldn't say it was a success either. But I learned from it. I learned what a scalable business actually looked like.
Yeah. Failures, you learn the most.
For sure.
It's just, it makes you change. Like, your mindset changes when you fail. It kind of makes you go outside the box and think outside the box.
Right.
So, and that's honestly what I love about being in real estate. There's failures and challenges every day. So I'm always like kind of just thinking outside of the box. Like, from a marketing standpoint, like, what are other people doing, like, to stand out, So it's just, you need that, the failures are really like, and you got to have that mindset too.
Yeah.
If you have the mindset of failing and you get frustrated from it,
Yeah.
you're never going to be successful in business. But
Agreed.
if you have the complete opposite mindset, you're going to be very successful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I think regardless of how big you are, how successful you are, or how many failures or successes you've experienced, everyone's afraid to fail. Like, it's a scary thing. Like, it's there,
not fun. It sucks,
Right. It sucks, right.
But
yeah, and it's, I've been doing this for 25 years. Like, I've put everything into building the business that I have now, right? Like, if it failed, that's a big failure. That's 25 years of my life that fails, and like, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it takes balls. And that's it. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm in the middle of dissolving my partnership with my partner now with the cabinet company, and I want to open another showroom, and I want to have multiple showrooms.
Yeah.
I'd like to have 5. Like, and
where do you want to expand to?
definitely moving to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I want to hit the seacoast area, probably
Nice.
like Portsmouth, try and kind of tap into some of that southern Maine and
market,
southern
yep.
New Hampshire market. And I was honestly thinking, maybe even closer to Salem, New Hampshire, kind of my hometown.
Yep.
To spit in the face of all the people that told me I'd be dead or in jail by 18.
There we go. Yeah.
You
Hell
know?
yeah. It's what fires you up. You know,
man, for
you
sure.
need that.
Yep. I want to have one closer to Boston.
Yep.
I'd love to have a design studio closer to Boston and
Yep.
like offer, appliances and have like, lighting and fixtures and faucets and sinks and
Nice.
that kind of stuff. Like I'd like to have a design studio. That's kind of, those are my ambitions. And,
Yeah.
we're getting there. It's, it'll take some time, but, we're working on it. But yeah, I mean, big ambitions, and it's like, it's scary. It's the same
is.
thing. Like what we were just talking about. It's like, yeah, I could open one in Portsmouth, right? Like, but it could fail.
Yeah.
Like I could, think it's going to do well and it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, or like I could open the showroom and the market could just plunge or like,
Yep.
then what, and it's like, then I failed,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that like having that inner dialogue is important. You know, there has to
is.
be some kind of risk management in going on in your head.
Yep.
But you just can't let that voice win without data to support it.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like if you think that like, all right, I can do this, I can open the showroom, I know how I'm going to attack the marketing, I know how I'm going to attack the advertising, I know how I'm going to attack the sales. We already have all the operation procedures in place. I'd just be copying and pasting what I have now in a different area. You know, obviously it'll be slow going to start, but like we have avenues to kind of supplement that, you know? So like for me, it's like I have all this data that says like, that supports that we'll be successful, but there's still the dialogue.
There
you
is.
know, that evil dialogue that's in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you weren't supposed to make it past 18. Now you're opening a second showroom. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess, just not letting that voice win is important. You know?
Yeah. But that dialogue sometimes motivates you. It motivates me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
I get goosebumps talking about it.
yeah,
Man. Like,
I had the same thing growing up too, you know? So people said I couldn't even go to college, you know? And I went to college and now running a real estate business.
Yep.
So it's,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like spite. Spite is such a powerful
Exactly.
motivator, man. Like I love that shit.
like F everyone,
Yeah.
you know? So
It's funny. I always think back to this teacher. You know, I got expelled from high school sophomore year. Like I didn't spend much time in school, but like it was middle school. And this teacher was like, you know, cause we were wearing our big baggy pants and sagging them below our ass and like, you know, thinking we were gangsters, you know? And, a teacher told me, he's like, why do you wear a style of clothing that originated in prison? And I was like, you don't know how I grew up, bro. Like, this is what I know. You know what I mean?
You don't know me. Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know my life story. You don't know what I came through from. You know, and like, you know, and he's like, well, you know, you're wearing your clothes like you're in prison. Like you're not going to make it past 18 before you go to jail. Like, look, what are you doing? You know, and it was like, and I just, those things like those, and it sucked back then and I didn't understand the weight of it then. But now I look back on that stuff and I'm like, cool, bro.
Yeah. Look
You
at
know?
me now.
Yeah, what's up?
Yep.
Like everybody's dead. I'm
Yep.
still alive. I'm still here
Mic
breathing.
drop. Yep.
What's up,
Look at
man?
me now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So I love that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the underdog story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yep. So let me ask you this. Where do you see the trades, you know, do you see any change happening within the next, let's say 3 to 5 years?
Dude, the biggest change with the trades is just, you know, getting some of these young kids in, you know, because, you know, I said it on the first episode, like we'd be on job sites installing kitchens and we were the youngest crew there by 20, 30 years. And there was nobody behind us and nobody between us and that older generation, you know, and then like, you know, so it's like kind of scary to think that like, you know, my age bracket, I'm almost 40 now, like the guys that I'm working with now that are my age, you know, pushing 50, pushing 60, what's behind us?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and it's like,
True.
there's this big push, and there's always been a big push for college, and it works for some people and is definitely beneficial to a lot of people, but like it's not for everyone, right? So like those types of people, the ones that don't do the schooling thing, you know, the trades are such a good place for those people to go, you know, and it's
there's
like
a demand for it.
there's a demand for it, and that's the big thing is like the demand is so high, but dude, try to find a plumber right now. Try to find an electrician as a homeowner.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's impossible.
it's impossible.
Yeah.
You know, because these guys, they all want to work for general contractors. They want to work for the investors because it's steady income for them.
Builders, you know, they want to work for builders.
Yeah, they want to have that. They almost want to have their own business, but still punch a clock from Monday through Friday from 9 to 5.
It's hard to find that like good handyman that would just do small jobs, you know? It's impossible.
Yeah, and that's, you
and
know,
there's
so
a huge
like,
demand for that.
huge demand.
Yeah.
You know, actually, one of the investors that I used to work with before the market kind of turned upside down, you know, he used to buy, there was a whole team of guys, and I told you about this yesterday, buy entire neighborhoods and renovate. And he pulled out of that completely because, like, obviously the numbers were too tight. He started a handyman service.
Yeah.
Like, and, you know, looking back at it now, and this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Dude, that was
it
fucking
is.
brilliant move.
It must be
You
killing
know?
it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, actually, funny story is that the person that built my website, I ended up meeting through him because like there's one day, it was like a Friday afternoon at like 8 o'clock. Like I'm sitting on the back deck, you know, working, doing my thing on my phone. And I got an email from a handyman service, like saying, oh, we just started this handyman service. This is what we do. This is what we offer. Very well put together email. I went on the website. Website was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I reached out. Like, I'm selling cabinets. They're a handyman service.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we can do business together.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yep. Good
So I
resource
reached
to have.
out, right. And then the dude reached out. He's like, you know, it's funny, Frank. You're the first person. We just launched this email campaign. You're the first person to reach out, and you didn't even know it was me. And I'm like, I had no idea, man. So I was like, who put together this email and who put together your
did all this
website,
stuff?
bro?
Yeah.
And he ended up hooking me up with her, and you know, she built my website and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, it's pretty funny how that kind of worked out. But
Nice.
but yeah, man. So I think, you know, the trades, like, the demand is always going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think it's not going to get any worse, because even if the demand drops off, the amount of trades that are available is also dwindling.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the demand and and the trades
True.
is just
It's
kind of
less people doing it. So
right.
it's, Yep.
You know, so I think that, you know, it is a great time right now to get into the trades as, like, you know, a 20-year-old, 25-year-old kid.
It is.
And learn, you know, and it sucks. Like, you got to start at the bottom, man. Like, you know, you're
That's
going to
with
be
anything.
Yeah,
Anything you do.
You're going to be cleaning out the van and organizing the van and loading
To be
shit
a laborer
up.
for a while, you know? Yeah, that's what it is. That's what you do.
It is an investment in your future that is going to yield major returns.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, especially if I always used to tell my guys on the road, like, when we were installing, if you can show up on time, right? You can work an 8 to 10 hour day, not take a 2-hour lunch break, not leave at 3 every day, not, you know, take 15 smoke breaks. You're already better than 90% of the guys out there already, without even touching a product or putting a tool on.
Yeah.
Like, you're already better than 90%.
Yeah.
So if you can do that and put together quality work, like, you're better than 98% of the people out there.
I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges about the trades is finding good quality people.
Right.
You know, my dad, you know, ran the plastering business for 40 years. That was his biggest challenge, you know.
It's so hard.
He had 15, 20 people under him at one point. Then he had 2, you know. It's just, it's just so hard to find good, reliable people.
For sure.
Like you said, if just you show up on time and do your work, that's, you know, you're 95% ahead of people
For
at
sure.
that point, you know? So,
and the thing is why, and why you find a lot of the trades that are inadequate is because, you know, you got to think about it like dropping a drop of oil in water, right? As the market expands and as all this business comes in, so say you're an electrician, right? You're working for an electrical contractor, and, like, all this business is coming into this electrical contractor, which is keeping you busy and keeping you fed. You think that, like, okay, there's so much work out there. I know how to pull cable. I know how to hook up outlets and lighting. I can do this.
Do my own thing.
I can do my own
I'm going to go off and do my own
I'm
thing.
going to go off and do
That's
my
what
own
happens.
thing
Yeah.
without getting enough experience, without knowing business, you know. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you can go out and do the work, and you might be good at it.
Yeah.
But running a business and operating a day-to-day
totally
is a
different thing.
completely different
It is.
animal. And not everybody has it, you know, and because you get a lot of freedom. There's a lot of freedom with having your own business.
Yeah.
And you have to be extremely disciplined in order to be successful at it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
So let me ask you this then. So, you know, if someone wanted to go off and start their own thing, you know, doing, let's say plumbing, like, where do they find those resources and help to kind of learn the business side of things? Like, do you kind of know anyone, like, or?
I think that, you know, you should be learning from somebody who's running a successful business.
Yeah.
You
So
know
just
what I mean?
find someone that's doing it now and.
Right. Get a job with a bigger company. Get a job with a company that has 100 employees.
Yep.
You know, that's in furniture. Like, that's what I did. I worked for a furniture company that went out of business in 2007.
Yep.
And then I started with Jordan's Furniture. Jordan's Furniture is huge. They were bought out by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the most
Oh, were
wealthy.
they really? I didn't know that.
So they're
Wow.
owned by Berkshire Hathaway.
No way.
So Warren Buffett bought Jordan's Furniture.
When did they buy him
ago.
out? Wow.
Years
I didn't know
ago.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you know, I've been out of that
Love
industry
Jordan's
for a long time.
up in Reading.
Dude,
Place
it's
is-
it's a great experience, and that's what he pushes.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you can build a business that is strong enough to get the attention of Warren Buffett, then you're doing something right.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so when I started with Jordan's Furniture, I already knew that I was going to jump out on my own and start my own company.
Yeah. You had a plan.
I had,
Like, yeah.
I mean, it was a very vague plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But still good enough. Yeah. You had,
I knew that someday I wanted to,
Yeah.
but, like, I knew that if I could start with Jordan's and learn their business structure, kind of learn what they did right and how they were able to build this company to what this company is and be bought out by Berkshire Hathaway, like, then I could learn something from it. So, like, And I was really good at what I did, and I built a really good reputation for myself, and I was loyal to them till the day I left.
Yep.
But I was there to learn. Like I just wanted to learn like what they were doing that was so good.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a great approach to it. Like start with a plumbing company, start with an electrical company that's doing really well. And you're going to get your pay. You're getting paid to learn.
Yeah.
Like, these kids that go to college, they're paying for an education. And
Yeah.
the trades, if you work for somebody and learning their business structure and learning how to run and operate a business and growing in that business and learning all the ins and outs, you're getting paid a really good salary to learn how to do this business and operate so that you can jump out on your own. Because a lot of times with these trades guys, they jump on their own thinking that like, I'm a good electrician. This company's making all this money and they're only paying me this. They jump out on their own and then they realize they don't know how to run a business and they get themselves into trouble.
Yep.
And like, but and that's.
And if it's just you working, that's not a business. That's a job.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know?
Yep.
So like if you're trying to grow a business, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So you could have, your job, like you can be self-employed, but it's just a job if it's just you, working 80 hours a week. So
it's crazy.
yeah.
So running up against it time-wise already. You believe that shit?
Wow.
Doesn't it go by
We're
quick?
cruising. Yeah.
I feel like every time I do these, I'm like, man, we're already
Yeah.
done.
Let's keep it going.
So I guess last thing, and we kind of do this, John named this, the toolbox tips.
Okay.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's proud of himself.
Love it. Got to brand it.
So in this part, we're just kind of looking for practical advice. Man, we talked about a lot. And I think we really put together some really good content in this segment. I guess, and let's talk about in real estate and kind of your thoughts on trades, right?
Yep.
So, what is some practical advice for somebody that you could give to somebody that wanted to be in real estate or wanted to kind of get into real estate or even get into flipping houses or something like that? I mean, what's a good piece of advice you would give them?
Yeah, I think you just have to, do your research, but just jump into it. And, from the investment side, just like to exactly what you're just talking about, like find someone that's doing what you want to do. And whether it's like working for them for free, but you get all their resources and you're learning from them, I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Like find someone that's doing exactly what you want to do, whether it's, selling real estate, flipping houses, buying, 100 rental properties and just learn from them. Like just find them in your, in your local network and I would say just like add value to them, like just do stuff for free, like help them out, like find what you're good at. If you're good at marketing, help them on the marketing side, So I would say that,
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess trades wise, man, like you obviously you're not a trades guy, but you've seen enough of the trades and kind of understand the industry. What kind of advice would you give somebody for going into the trades?
Yeah, I would say same thing. Yeah, just find someone like exactly what you just said. Just like find someone that's, if you want to build a huge business, go work for Jordan's Furniture for a little bit, and come up with that plan. Like just kind of think ahead as to what your long-term goal is. And then, work backwards.
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's so much value in setting goals like that.
there is.
There
yeah.
was,
do you set yearly goals? Like, do you set quarterly, yearly? I do quarterly goals.
Do you?
Yeah.
I used to
Business, personal. All
when I
that
had
stuff.
first started, I loved that. Like I would do, my quarterly, I would do monthly, I would do 6 months, I would do year, 5 years. And I think it's so gratifying to have those goals written out and cross them out when they're done.
Yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
like, I just love that.
Yeah.
Like it's like I did something.
Yeah.
I don't do it as much as I used to as far as writing it down goes.
Yep.
Like my head is 10 years ahead on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like this is what I want to do today. This is what I want to do tomorrow. This is what I want to put into next month. Like, and I have a ton of notes in my phone. Like Tyler sees my agenda and my lists of stuff that I want to get done.
Yeah.
And I do that stuff. And then I have these goals, like, opening another showroom.
Yeah.
Opening a couple of showrooms, having the design studio, maybe getting into the design build. So I have those things set out there and they're pushed off, but I can see them.
Yeah.
And like every decision that I make and every step that I take is always thinking about what that 10-year goal is and what that long-term goal is. I definitely do it better for my business than I do for my personal life.
Yeah.
I have never been good at balancing both. But
it's hard.
It's hard, man.
It's not easy.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. Yeah. my personal life, as far as me goes, my personal life for the boys, like, I've always planned ahead for that stuff, and I've always put them in positions to kind of to do the things that they want to do and kind of how they want to do them.
Yep.
So I plan that pretty well. But for me, I try not to plan my shit, man. And maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, who knows? But like, I'm a roll with the punches kind of guy.
Are you?
Know?
Yeah.
My schedule is so packed on a regular basis, and like everything is scheduled. Everything's in a calendar. Like, I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to go here. You know. So my personal life, when I get time off, like, I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
You know. So if I go away and I spend a couple days up in the mountains or something,
You don't want to be
like
thinking
that,
about that stuff.
dude. No.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
want
the same way.
I just want to live in the moment, man.
Yeah.
Like.
Shut the phone off and just
absolutely. Yeah. And I don't do it often, but I do it when I need to.
Yeah.
I say it a lot. Like, I have a lot of dead friends, man. A lot of people that I grew up with didn't make it out. And like, I just want to live in a way that they would be proud.
Yeah.
Like, do things that they would want to do if they were still here.
Yep.
And like, that means no agenda, no calendar, like, eat when I'm hungry, drink when I'm thirsty, go hike a
gotta
mountain
enjoy
if I want
life.
to. Yeah.
You have to enjoy
it, man.
life too. Yeah.
And you can't enjoy it if you're thinking ahead too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about it like I have it all figured out and I have it so balanced well, and I don't, but like, I definitely focus a lot on business. But, my personal life, when I do get that time, man, like, I'm not thinking about it. Like, it'll come, it'll happen the way it's supposed to happen, work out the way it's supposed to work out if I keep pursuing this path.
Yeah. But you got to be organized. Like you
Yeah.
said, you seem like you're very organized. Like, I'm the same way. I get everything in a calendar. I got a checklist that I go through every single day.
For sure.
So organization is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And I have that all nailed down. But like, then like, my days off is just, there's nothing there.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's it, man. That concludes episode number 3,
Awesome.
bro. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I think this was great. I think that we put out a lot of information. And I always think about these as we're talking, like, is this something I would want to listen to? And I really like this one, man. I think it's good. I think it's good to kind of bring in the vision and kind of, your perspective of kind of how the market looks and, having that background and kind of doing what you're doing now. I think that a lot of people can relate to it, man. And I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, brother. So thank you, everybody. Handforge Podcast. This is episode number 3. And we're done. Next week we have, or I think it's 2 weeks. I don't know. I'll have to ask Tyler. 2 weeks we have interior designer coming on. I think it's Lisa Wilkins is up next. She's awesome. She does a little bit of everything. She's a yoga instructor. She's a interior designer. She owns a retreat center down in Essex. Like, very busy woman, very business savvy, awesome personality. Looking forward to having her on.